You have probably heard a lot about Solomon because he is considered the richest man in the history of the Bible. What we know about him is this: silver and gold flowed into his kingdom. Kings from all over the world came to listen to him speak. His fame and wealth spread across many nations. There have been countless articles written about one question: what made Solomon so wealthy? Was it because of his power? Was it because he was born into royalty? Or did he have a secret that most people overlook? The Bible actually reveals the principles that built Solomon's prosperity. And the interesting thing is, these principles were not secrets meant only for a king. Anyone can learn them. So if we truly applied these principles to our own lives, what might happen? Today, we're going to explore that together. The first thing I want to talk about is the mind, or in other words, building wisdom before taking action. I know you have probably heard this many times, but let me summarize it like this. The first thing that made Solomon different from many people in history was not his wealth, it was his wisdom. When Solomon was still very young and had just become king of Israel, God appeared to him in a dream and said something remarkable. Ask for whatever you want me to give you. 1 Kings 3:5. Just imagine if you were in that position, what would you ask for? Many people would probably ask for money, power, victory over their enemies, or a long and secure life. But Solomon made a completely different choice. He said to God, "Give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and to distinguish between right and wrong." 1 Kings 3:9. Solomon did not ask for gold, he did not ask for fame, he did not ask for power, he asked for wisdom. That decision pleased God greatly. The Bible records God's response to Solomon: "Since you have asked for this and not for long life or wealth for yourself, nor asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice, I will give you a wise and discerning heart." 1 Kings 3:11-12. But the story does not end there. After giving Solomon wisdom, God added something else. "I will also give you what you did not ask for, both wealth and honor." 1 Kings 3:13. In other words, Solomon did not chase wealth, he pursued wisdom. And that wisdom eventually led him to wealth. Later in the book of Proverbs, Solomon wrote, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom." Proverbs 4:7. This carries a powerful lesson for us today. Many people work very hard. They spend hours every day working, but they rarely take time to learn and reflect. They act first and think later. Solomon was the opposite. He understood something important. Action without wisdom can send you in the wrong direction very quickly. But wisdom can guide your decisions for many years. Sometimes one wise decision can change an entire future. So if you want to follow Solomon's example, start with a very simple habit. Spend at least 30 minutes every day learning. You might be surprised by the results of this habit. It could be reading a book. It could be reading the Bible. It could be reflecting on your decisions and thinking deeply. But commit to 30 minutes every day. In a sense, you are programming your mind with those 30 minutes. Start by setting a timer. Choose the same time each day, the same moment, the same block of time. Because when the brain recognizes a consistent schedule, it becomes easier to focus. Over time, your wisdom will grow. And as your wisdom grows, the way you see life will begin to change. You will start noticing opportunities that you previously missed. The second principle is the heart, treating people with respect and fairness. The second reason Solomon was respected everywhere was not only his wisdom, it was his heart toward people. One of the most famous stories about Solomon in the Bible is the story of two women arguing over a baby. Both women claimed the child was theirs. There were no witnesses, no evidence. The situation seemed almost impossible to resolve. But Solomon made a decision that shocked everyone. He said, "Bring me a sword, divide the living child in two, and give half to each woman." 1 Kings 3:24-25. Immediately one of the women cried out, "Please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him." But the other woman said, "Neither I nor you shall have him. Divide him." At that moment, Solomon knew who the real mother was. He said, "Give the living baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is his mother." 1 Kings 3:27. This story spread throughout Israel. The Bible says, "All Israel heard of the judgment the king had rendered, and they held the king in awe because they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to administer justice." 1 Kings 3:28. This reveals something very important. Solomon did not use his wisdom to impose power. He used his wisdom to protect people and bring justice. When someone treats others fairly and with respect, trust begins to grow. And trust is one of the most valuable assets in life. In Proverbs, there is a well-known saying, "A good name is more desirable than great riches." Proverbs 22. You may have a lot of money, but if you have no reputation, people will not want to work with you. On the other hand, if you are trustworthy, opportunities often find you. In life, many doors open not because of money, but because of character. A person who is honest, a person who respects others, a person who keeps their promises. These qualities build trust. Trust builds relationships. Relationships create opportunities, and opportunities can lead to prosperity. Solomon understood this very well. That is why he did not build his kingdom with wisdom alone. He built it with justice and respect for people. The third principle is patience, building prosperity step by step. Solomon clearly understood that lasting wealth does not appear overnight. In Proverbs, he wrote, "Wealth gained quickly will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it." Proverbs 13:11. This verse is incredibly relevant today. We live in a very fast-paced world. People want quick wealth, quick success, instant fame. Just open social media and you will see stories of people becoming rich in months. But Solomon lived thousands of years ago, and he already understood a truth that we still need to relearn today. The most valuable things in life are usually built slowly. A strong business is not built overnight. A lasting career is not built in a year. A successful life is usually the result of many years of wise decisions. Solomon built the kingdom of Israel over many years. He expanded trade. He developed trade routes. He established peace with surrounding nations. Over time, Israel became extremely prosperous. The Bible says, "King Solomon was greater in riches and wisdom than all the other kings of the earth." 1 Kings 10:23. But that prosperity did not appear overnight. It was built step by step, decision by decision, year by year, habit by habit. In Ecclesiastes, another famous verse says, "There is a time for everything." Ecclesiastes 3:1. Life has different seasons, a season of learning, a season of growth, and a season of harvest. If you are currently in the season of learning or building, do not be discouraged. The seeds you plant today may become something great in the future. Just like a large tree, it does not grow in a single day, but if you nurture it daily, water it daily, and patiently wait, one day it will become strong and tall. True prosperity works the same way. It is built with wisdom, character, and patience. When we look at Solomon's life, we see something fascinating. His wealth did not begin with gold, it did not begin with power, and it did not begin with luck. It began with one decision, the decision to pursue wisdom before everything else. Solomon chose to build wisdom in his mind, build character in his heart, and build prosperity patiently over time. And those three things changed his entire life. Today, many people chase money first. They believe that if they have money, everything else will follow. But Solomon taught the opposite. In Proverbs we read, "Blessed are those who find wisdom, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold." Proverbs 3:13-14. This means wisdom does not only help you live better, it can transform your entire future. Because when you have wisdom, you make better decisions, you build stronger relationships, and you avoid many mistakes in life. Over time, those things can create a very different life. But perhaps the most important question is not, why was Solomon wealthy? The real question is, what would happen if we lived by the same principles? If every day we made time to learn? If we treated people with respect and fairness? If we patiently built our lives step by step? Maybe we will never become the richest king in history. But one thing is certain, our lives will become wiser, stronger, and more meaningful. And sometimes, that is the greatest wealth a person can ever have.